Hi, my name is Aika, and I'm going to create a database and a table that has 7 columns, and 2 columns include a lot more than one entry, so I need to separate those columns out. I'm using the Screenomatic free version, which is limited to 15 minutes, so I'll only be showing you a quick portion of the database, and perhaps there's more time left to show you the view that I create that is automatically updated as soon as the tables update. So I created the database called Final Job Interest, and I'm going to copy the comments I created here in my WordPad file and just copy and paste it into the SQL window. Here we have the Final Job Interest database. Now I need to create a table. The only non-string data that I have here is the wages column. I use decimal up to 7 numbers in length, and then the date of posting, I just use the regular date and just tell the column not to use null if I don't have that information. So here we show the job interest table, but there's nothing really to show because I haven't inserted the values yet. So just the columns, and there's nothing in it yet. So I need to insert that information, and I already have that listed here. So here's the table that I just created, and what it is a table about different job titles, what kind of tasks were asked for when I perused the job listing boards, and what kind of software skills were required, the average wage that I obtained from the BLS.gov information site. It's a United States labor site, and you can search by occupation. It will give you a lot of information. I made up the date of the postings, but yeah, right now I just pretended those were job postings I've seen on different job boards, so that I can sort them by date or just want to see the listings from last week. But here I have the tasks and the user interface column that contain a lot of information. I can't query on it really unless I can query just on Microsoft Access or MySql or FileMaker Pro. It's all combined and into one column. So I need to separate both of these out. So I'm going to just do the exercise here for the tasks column to show you how that works. I counted that earlier, and the job posting I had about 5. They listed about 4 tasks, so I'm going to separate this main table out. To separate the task column out into 4 separate tasks column. And this is what it looks like. So now I need to move this information over and separate that information into these 4 tasks. And I use the substring query command to do that, and then I'll trim the information so that we remove that information that we moved over to task 1 and delete it from the original task column. So this string removes the first entry over up to the first comma, and the second command will set the task column and trim it by that first information up to the first comma that I move over. So we have two commands here in that one window. And this is what it would look like. So here, these two entries for computer user support specialist administrative support, they only had one task listed, and those were moved over, and I removed it here from the task column. I need to do that for all four tasks columns, task 4 columns. And I can only do one at a time, I think, because it needs to remove it from that second entry from the task column before I can say go up to the first comma and now take the next one. So it needs to trim it first. So I'll do that. Let's make sure we get that to the command. Yeah, I don't need to do that for the last one because I don't need to trim it because I'm going to remove it. Basically, it's going to show the same information in task 4 and in the task column for the job roles that had several tasks listed, and we'll just remove it later once we combine them and link them together. So if I browse to this table, so here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 occupations that had several tasks listed. Here is the original column. I moved that over, separated it into 4 tasks column, and this will be deleted later, so I don't really need to trim that column. Back on the main database. Now I want to create a job task table where I just list all of the tasks that I had in that initial spreadsheet or database. And here it is. And I want to combine that. Still has no information, so I have to enter values, and I use the union command or keyword where I combine all of the job tasks into one table. The task ID will auto increment and will be the primary key. I will not move over information. I will not move over empty spaces or cells that had null in there and assign it task ID. So that's what this line here is for. The exclamation mark says not, so not equal to space. And I'll do that for all 4. And here's the union keyword. I'll group it by task 1 because they're from task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4. If I just use task, it would not work because I have some empty spaces also in that column now in the main table. So I'll just group it by task 1. It's almost in alphabetical order, so let's do that. And here are all of the tasks with a task ID assigned as a primary key. I need to combine these two tables somehow, and I'll use a junction table and combine them using the union statement here again. So 2 columns, a job ID column, a task ID column. I want from the job interest table, I want the job ID, and from the job task table, I want the task ID. From the job interest table, I'll combine it with the job tasks table, and task 1 here is because we have task 1, task 2, task 4, so I have to list that, and it has to match one of the tasks from the tasks column in the new job task table. And I did not like the key table, journal interest, journal task. I abbreviated that here, and I wanted to rename that. Refresh, and here's the new name of the junction table. The job ID and the task ID listed. Now I need to add the constraint, the foreign key constraint to link to the 2 tables. So here I have the foreign key that references the job ID in the job interest table, and the foreign key that references the task ID in the job task table. So I've done the same for the user interface column, so where we had to separate that out and create a separate user interface table. Here are all of the columns that I don't need, so I'm going to remove them and use the alter table drop column command. And it's not working. Let's see what the error is. Oh, I'm missing semicolon to end. And this is the table, my final table. And finally, we will create the view, clicking back on the final job interest database. I'll put in the create review command with the subquery. This tells us that for UI ID, the user interface ID number 20, which was MySql, select the job ID, and we had 3. But I really want the job title, so I use the increment. So I wanted the view using as select job interest, job title. Job title is the column from the job interest table where the job ID is matching these 3 job IDs. Resulting from this query. Click on Go. Here is my SQL jobs, and there are 3 job titles as you see here. And I can run several queries on software skills or wages or job tasks now using the view command or just a regular select view here. Thank you.